Okay, so I want to tell you about an animal that remembers everything, not just where it found water 20 years ago, not just which paths are safe, and which ones are dangerous. It remembers faces, it remembers kindness, and it remembers cruelty, for decades, sometimes for life. This is the elephant. And once you understand what is actually happening inside that massive head, you will never look at this animal the same way again. Let me start with the memory, because the saying elephants never forget is not just a cute expression, it is a documented scientific fact. Researchers in Kenya studied a herd of elephants for over 30 years. During a severe drought, the matriarch, the oldest female who leads the herd, led her family on a journey of over 50 kilometers to a water source she had visited only once, 30 years earlier. During another drought, when she was young, she had been there once in her entire life, and she remembered exactly where it was 3 decades later, when her family needed it most. That single memory saved the entire herd. But it is not just water sources. Elephants remember the faces of over 1,000 other elephants. They can identify individual humans they have not seen in years. There is a famous case of an elephant named Shirley who was reunited with another elephant named Jenny at an elephant sanctuary in Tennessee. The two elephants had met briefly at a circus 22 years earlier. When they were placed in adjacent enclosures, they immediately recognized each other. They reached through the bars, touching faces and rumbling softly. The keepers had never seen either elephant react that way to any other animal. 22 years, one brief meeting, and they both remembered. Now here is where it gets even more remarkable. Elephants grieve, not in a vague instinctive way. They grieve the way humans grieve. When a member of the herd dies, the other elephants gather around the body. They touch it gently with their trunks. They stand quietly for hours, sometimes days. They return to the bones of their dead long after the body has decomposed, sometimes years later, and they touch the bones again, specifically the skull and the tusks, as if they are remembering, as if they need to come back one more time. Scientists have observed elephants returning to the spot where a family member died even when there are no remains left, just the place. They stand in that spot in silence. They mourn places where someone they loved used to be. And here is the part of the elephant's story that I find the most powerful. The part about what happens when an elephant is treated with cruelty. There was a matriarch in Zimbabwe named Nzu. Her herd had been targeted by poachers for years. Family members killed, young ones taken, and Nzu remembered every human who had come into her territory with bad intentions. She remembered their smell, their sounds, the type of vehicles they used. Researchers observed her leading her herd away from danger before the threat was even visible, reacting to sounds and smells that humans could not detect, because somewhere in that massive memory she had filed away exactly what danger looked like before it arrived. But elephants do not just flee from cruelty, they respond to it. There are documented cases of elephants returning to villages that had harmed them years earlier, not in panic, not randomly, but deliberately, walking directly to specific locations, specifically targeting the people or places connected to past harm. One case in India involved a herd that returned to destroy the crops of a specific farmer years after he had driven them away with fire. They left surrounding farms untouched. Only his. They remembered, and they responded. But here is the other side of this, the side that makes elephants truly extraordinary. They respond to kindness with the same intensity they respond to cruelty. Lawrence Anthony was a conservationist in South Africa, who spent years building relationships with the wild elephant herd on his reserve. He talked to them, spent time near them, earned their trust slowly over years. When Lawrence Anthony died in 2012, something happened that nobody could explain. Two separate herds of wild elephants, herds that had been living deep in the bush miles away from his house, began walking toward his home the day after he died. They had not visited in over a year. They walked for 12 hours and arrived at his house, where they stood quietly for 2 days. Then they turned around and walked back into the bush. Nobody called them. Nobody led them. The elephants simply knew, and they came to pay their respects. How did they know he had died? Scientists still cannot fully explain it. Some believe elephants communicate over vast distances through infrasound, vibrations too low for humans to hear, that can travel for miles through the ground. Others believe the connection between Lawrence and those elephants was something deeper than science has fully mapped yet. What we do know is this: the elephant has the largest brain of any land animal. It has the same regions in its brain associated with empathy, self-awareness, and emotion that humans have. It recognizes itself in a mirror, something only a handful of species on Earth can do. It uses tools, creates art when given brushes and paint. It plays. It comforts distressed members of its family with touch and sound. It mourns its dead. It forms friendships that last decades. And it never forgets the people who mattered to it. Good or bad, kind or cruel, the elephant remembers, and it responds accordingly, sometimes decades later, with a precision and intention that looks less like animal instinct and more like something we might recognize in ourselves. If this made you feel something, subscribe right now, because this is what FactStruck does every single week. We find the most unbelievable things on this planet and tell you the whole story. No fluff, just the real stuff. See you in the next one.